Come on, Bram, let's go up, said Arya as he went to the rooftop. Arya was always excited to do the 20-minute morning exercise. It had been a routine since the quarantine instruction in the city he was living in was exercise. In March, the government instructed the citizens to stay at home to stop the spread of a highly contagious virus that hit the world, COVID 19. The COVID 19 virus could cause a fever, cough, and shortness of breath. At worst, the infection could cause pneumonia or breathing difficulties, which might lead to death. Arya and Brahm had found exercising in the morning under the sunlight to be a way to keep themselves healthy. Wait for me, said Brahm as he was tying up his shoelaces. Arya started the YouTube workout channel from his iPad. Whenever the conditioning phase of the exercise started, Brahm always found an excuse not to join. He sat on the iron bench, always looking at the surrounding, and never missed his neighbor's swimming pool. He thought about diving and touching the mosaic in the pool, but something bothered him. Come here. That boy always look at us. Today is not the first time, said Bram in muted tones, pointing at a teenager boy a few meters away from them, quietly trying his best so that the boy couldn't hear it. Arya ignored Bram and continued his workout. When he was done, he saw Bram waving at the boy and greeting him. Hello, do you want to join us tomorrow? Bram, our classes are about to start. Arya reminded Bram as he was getting ready to go downstairs. They needed to attend their online classes as schools in the city were all closed. The learning activities had been done online at home ever since the lockdown started. I want to make friends with him. Feels like years that I haven't met any of my friends, moaned Bram. He understood why Bram complained, and just before leaving the rooftop, Arya had a quick chat with the boy and asked for his phone number so that they could get to know each other. Wow, nice drawing, said Gilang. Bram was holding a drawing of Lake Toba scenery with his right hand toward the front camera of his phone. What grade are you in? Brax. Suddenly, a loud sound of something falling, followed by a woman screaming, shocked them. What happened? Asked Bram. I've got to go downstairs now, Gilang replied abruptly, and the phone was hung up. Mrs. Santi, Gilang's mother, was taking out things from the fridge and throwing them to the floor angrily. This fridge looks like a garbage bin now. You bought everything without checking what this still had. Gilang explained, "These are our stocks for the few days ahead, Mom. Nowadays, it's not safe to keep going out every day." Mrs. Santi couldn't accept his explanation and kept throwing the things out from the fridge. Each day, Bram, Arya, and Gilang would call each other and they were getting close. They would share about their classes and also their boredom because they had been staying home for a very long time. One evening, after their online classes, they were talking in the video call as usual. As their conversation went on, there was an explosion. Arya and Bram could see smoke rising from the back of Gilang's house. "What? Do you think you're a superhero?" shouted Arya. Bram went to put on his Spider-Man suit. He always thought himself as a superhero. "Don't do anything silly," warned Arya. Gilang, surprised by the loud sound, hurriedly ran down from his bedroom on the second floor, still holding his phone. When he saw fire was swallowing the stove, he took a big bucket full of water and poured it down the stove. He had to do it 3 times before the fire was finally put out. "Mom, you can hit the vacuum food jar on the stove," Gilang told his mom, trying to compose himself so he didn't look angry. "I never knew that and he never told me," his mom blamed him. Not wanting to get into endless argument with his mom, he didn't say a word. Instead, he brought his mom back to her bedroom and told her that he would bring some food for her. After he had settled everything, he remembered the call he was having, so he went to grab his phone. "Gilang, what happened? Was there fire?" Bram asked. "Yes, that stove caught fire. My mom accidentally hit something which would explode on stove," Gilang sadly said. "That's dangerous," Arya said. "It's not the first time though. Sometimes my mom would just forget to turn off the stove when she cooks." Gilang recalled some similar incidents which at least didn't get any worse than today's. "Does your dad know about this?" asked Arya. "Yes, he does, but he's very seldom home, so I often have to take care of this by myself. My dad once told me that his friend suggested that we sprinkle the salt around the house when my mom is asleep at night," Gilang said. "What for?" Bram and Arya both said simultaneously. "In case this is caused by some supernatural spirits. The salt will make them go away." "I never believe in such things. But do you think I shall do that?" Gilang asked in desperation. "I think it's worth trying. What if he is right?" Arya tried to convince Gilang. "Bram and I are going to accompany you tonight." Bram, with a teasing look in his eyes, asked Arya, "Are you sure you dare to accompany him?" "Of course," Arya replied, although he was nervous. That night, they agreed to roll into action after Gilang's mom slept. She usually went to bed at 8 p.m. "It's about time he calls us," Arya nervously told Bram, and his phone just rang at the same time. "Hi, I'm at my garage and I'll start to sprinkle the salt around." Gilang held his phone on his left hand, took out some salt from his pocket and started to sprinkle it around with his right hand. Nobody said a word, so only silence was there. Gilang walked from his garage in the basement to the living room on the first floor. Arya and Bram were following closely through the video call. "Ah!" shouted Arya when it was suddenly dark and Bram illuminated his face with a torch that he had prepared before. Bram laughed at Arya. He loved to tease his brother. Gilang watched them on his phone and also laughed. Arya was the only one who didn't find it funny, but at least he knew nothing happened like the horror movies he ever watched. Gilang continued his mission around his house, and when he arrived in the kitchen, he saw his mom. Mrs. Santi looking for food. She couldn't make difference between day and night. She would sleep at daytime and woke up in the middle of the night looking for food, waiting mortally while nobody doing activities. "Hey guys, I think I've done my mission and I have to hang up now. See you tomorrow," Gilang said before ending the call. "Good night," Arya and Bram said together. They were talking about how hard it must have been for Gilang to do that all alone when Mrs. Irawan went into the room. "What are you two talking about so seriously, boys?" asked Mrs. Irawan. She found it funny as she mostly saw them fighting all the times. Arya and Bram shared to their mom about their new friend. Mrs. Irawan listened carefully to their story. "Gilang! Gilang! Where are you?" a woman shouted angrily. "I'm coming, Mom." Gilang came quickly to the living room. "I've just finished my classes. What's wrong?" "It's sandy everywhere. What have you been doing?" his mom complained. "I've cleaned the floor and there's no sand at all, Mom," explained Gilang. "Look at your foot. It's clean," said Gilang. As Gilang knelt down to check his mom's sole of the foot, suddenly his mom rubbed her foot on his shoulder harshly. Gilang was very upset. This is not the first time either. He still remembered his mom also spat on him in front of their housemate once. His mom's emotional ability has become nightmares for years. He wanted this condition to end, but didn't want to leave his mom. Despite feeling embarrassed, Gilang thought that he needed to tell Arya and Bram what he felt and all the pressure he had been under living with his mom. He really needed help and he hoped that they could give him an idea to make it better. So when they were on call, Gilang told them everything. He hoped somebody would told him what should he do. "When do you notice the changes?" asked Dr. Tan. "It probably started years ago. She started to forget things, not remembering anything. She would look for her comb when she's putting it on her head. But her illness is quite strange too. She is able to remember those things that happened long time ago. She would repeatedly nag me about it every day," explained Gilang. He followed Mrs. Irawan's suggestion to make Dr. Tan a psychiatrist. After Arya and Bram told him that their mom knew a doctor who might be able to tell him what was actually happening to his mom. When she went out for exercises, she would forget how to go home. There were several times that her friends would be the ones assisting her back home, continued Gilang. Dr. Tan listened patiently to Gilang to talk things over. Later on, she forgot things that she knew how to do before. How to prepare tea, how to cook porridge. Then, she couldn't manage her clothes in the wardrobe, nor find her clothes. She doesn't know how to do the things she used to do anymore. For her, there's no difference between day and night. She sometimes sleeps during the day and wakes up at night looking for something to eat, Gilang said. He sighed and continued. If that was everything that has changed about her, I would be grateful. But it got worse when she could even forget to turn off the stove when she cooked. You must be terrified, said Dr. Tan sympathetically. I had to cope with her anger for very trivial reasons or even for things that I thought unreasonable at all. Gilang expressed his feeling. From her explanation, her condition is dementia with BPSD. Dementia is a syndrome in which there is deterioration in memory, thinking, behavior, and the ability to perform every activities. While BPSD includes emotional, perceptual, and behavior disturbance that are similar to those seen in psychiatric disorders, explained Dr. Tan. It's not your fault, nor your mom's fault. It may have been caused by your mom's aging, he continued. Is there a way to cure my mom's disease, Doc? Gilang asked. Dr. Tan patiently explained. I'm afraid there's no cure for it. because dementia is caused by different diseases. But that does not mean there is nothing you can do to make it better. Please tell me, what should I do, Doc? Gilang really sounded in need of help. The best things that you can do to help your mom are to set a positive mood for interaction, always state your message clearly, break down activities into a series of steps, and finally, when the going gets tough, always remember that your mom is the best person in the world. Advised Dr. Tan. On his way back home, sitting in the car and looking out through the window, he tried to understand Dr. Tan's advice. Now that he knew what made his mom change, he could at least relate to his mom's condition. When he arrived home, he saw his mom differently, not as a scary and annoying mother, but a loving one in need of help. Since then, he could enjoy his days better. He struggled hard to manage his mom's daily activities. Morning prayer followed by exercise were routine which he believed will make positive impact. Day by day, his friendship with Arya and Brahm grew even stronger. When the night came to greet hello, Arya was sitting beside the firewood playing his guitar. His friendship with Gilang had given him a new life experience.